Hi, my name is Andrijana Bergants, and I'm president of European Institute of Compliance and Ethics, based in Slovenia and internationally connected. I'm also directing an international Bled Compliance and Ethics conference coming up on October 26 to 27 at Lake Bled, Slovenia, to bring together thought leaders in the field and some of the most engaged compliance and ethics professionals and leaders. Um, we are having speakers from the three continents this year: Europe, US, and Asia. And today I am on a call with one of them. Richard Bistrong is a CEO at Frontline Anti-Bribery, based in US. He's going to be a keynote speaker at Bled Compliance and Ethics Conference in a session titled From Corruption to Compliance: Lessons Learned for Business and Compliance Leaders from the Front Lines. Hi, Richard.
Andrijana, thank you so much for the introduction. And I mean, we've been talking about this, I think, since 2018. So
Yes,
going to be
finally.
right. It'll be such a pleasure to see you at Lake Bled. So excited about it.
Thank you. So let me introduce you some more, Richard, okay? I want to
Thank
introduce you really properly. So, Richard has started his career as successful vice president of sales at a multinational corporation. As such, he was traveling the world and closing the deals. But in 2007, he was targeted by US and UK law enforcement authorities for breaches of international anti bribery and trade laws. As part of a deal, he worked undercover with FBI and City of London police. And after serving his sentence, he continued his career in consulting, sharing his personal story to educate and raise awareness on integrity in business became his mission. Currently, through his consultancy, Frontline Anti-Bribery, Richard focuses primarily on ethics and compliance in the real world and the challenges of fighting bribery and corruption. In this newborn role, he has presented to hundreds of diverse international multinationals such as Volkswagen, Microsoft, Novartis, Kraft Heinz, Airbus, and trained law enforcement agencies through workshops. He helps people, teams, and organizations to understand that no one is ever alone when it comes to ethical decision making, and that we never have to sacrifice integrity to succeed. Richard, that is very impressive, a little terrifying, but also very inspirational. What else can you say about yourself that is not part of your formal bio, to lighten up a little with your hobbies, to let us have, to let us get to know you a little bit from your more personal, your other perspective that you think would be an interesting fact about yourself?
Well, Andrijana, thank you for the very generous introduction. And let's focus more on the inspirational than the terrifying right now.
Yeah, sure.
Oh.
Sure.
So a
Sure.
few things I might share is you'll probably find me running around Lake Bled because, work-life health balance is very important for our personal and professional well-being. And for me, running is a passion, and running in places I've never been, like Slovenia, is a particular
Oh, great.
passion. So you'll probably see those posts from my jogging on Instagram.
Welcome.
Thank you. The other thing I really enjoy is reading, but it might come as a little bit of a surprise as to what I enjoy reading, because You might think, oh, he probably loves to read about ethics and compliance. And I do, but the books that really catch me are books that I find inspirational that were not written about or for ethics and compliance leaders. So I have a few examples.
Yeah,
One,
I'm very interested.
great. So one is The Long Game, and The Long Game is by Dory Clark. And Dory's book, Reinventing You,
Noted.
is really what started my journey from corruption to compliance, because I
Wow.
read her book, Reinventing You, while I was in federal prison for
Wow.
3.5 months.
Great.
So she's had such an impact on me. And The Long Game is about how to be a long-term thinker in a short-term world.
Uh-huh.
And I think it's really important, especially with the demands on us, is to think, okay, what is the long-term plan here? And just so you know, part of it is what we should be saying yes to and what we should be saying no to.
No.
So you can thank Dory in part for why I said yes, and I'm so excited.
Oh, I would love to do that.
So the next book, and I'll just introduce this one, which I recently finished and really had such an impact on me. It's called Both and Thinking. Okay. Embracing creative
Got
tension
it.
to solve your toughest problems by Wendy Smith and Marianne Lewis.
So replacing but, right?
It's really replacing either or with both and. And I think this will lead into our discussion at Lake Bled, because thinking about former commercial Richard, very often my thinking was, I can either deliver success or I can deliver integrity. I can't deliver both.
As many business leaders do, right?
That's right, Andrijana.
Yeah.
And we have these, I think, core paradoxes, right? Which Wendy talks about. And a core paradox, just like you shared, a business leader thinking either we're going to succeed or we're going to sacrifice. Right? We can't do both.
Of course. I'm all for both. I always want everything, we should want it all, right?
Well, we can do it. We can have both integrity and success.
Of course.
And what this book talks about is how to navigate through that, because it won't happen on its own. So I'm excited to talk more about that in Lake Bled and how we can help people to have a both.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that, because we're going to have a dedicated interview on the very stage at the Bled Compliance and Ethics Conference on the 26th of October. That's the first day. So, but still, can you, and we will be there like for an hour, also having live Q&A session with the audience. But still, can you just give us a couple of highlights of your session, your topic, so from the corruption and compliance, lessons learned from the front lines? What would be two highlights, and also maybe drawing the point from the panel topic, so making decisions under pressure?
So I think part of this discussion is, how can we empower business leaders to appreciate that ethics and compliance isn't a legal responsibility, it's about responsible leadership. So how do we move from about risk, right, to responsible leadership? And I think part of that goes back to Wendy's book, that to do that, we have to surface tensions. We have to surface dilemmas. We have to surface ethical issues. And how can we do that? So I think that is going to be a big part of our discussion. And for the panel, it's how do we do that when we're being pressure tested in this world of economic uncertainty. So I think we'll be focusing on that. And I've also been doing some interesting work with a company called LRN, which helps to, and they publish a survey on measuring program effectiveness. So we can talk a little bit about what does an effective program look like, and we can share some data on that as well, and maybe put a link so people can see the reports.
Sure, sure. I will be happy to share those links and to dig into that myself, because I am all about data and KPIs and making the program effective, so impactful, right? To achieve the objectives of what compliance and ethics program is here to do. So this comes back to my other question. So also, can you share something from your consulting or um, speaking practice that you currently do or have just finished doing or are just taking up that would be interesting and you can share?
Well, the most recent development in my practice is I've had this wonderful partnership with MasterCard since 2017, where we have been co-producing e-learning content, mostly around anti-bribery videos.
Right.
So we've launched the third in a series
Wow.
of anti-bribery e-learning. So those are very exciting
So
videos.
and that's the e-learning for their company internally.
For their company internally, and then we have commercialized those videos as well.
Oh, so good. So good.
Yeah. And
Great.
then I even more, or not more, but the other thing that's really excited me in the past year is just the travel and going to places including Stockholm, Helsinki, Copenhagen, Buenos Aires, Argentina,
Oh,
and
wow.
just like we're going to do in Lake
Oh,
Bled, which is to have a gathering of compliance leaders that really take this seriously and
yeah,
that want to sort of make difficult issues
yeah,
discussable.
yeah,
And it's wonderful doing that, with a nice engaged group of people
yeah.
who want to take this to the next
Yeah,
level.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You can count on that because in this region around Slovenia, the compliance community is you could say under-resourced still, and has less practice than maybe like more central and Western Europe and the world, but it's one of the most flourishing and engaging and willing to make the difference. So yeah, you can definitely count on that, and shout out to them, also really, because it's there are specific institutional challenges here in this region, so which makes it extra tough to do this work, as I'm sure you are familiar with in some other parts of the world also. So this is especially difficult environment to work in compliance, and I also know this myself. So shout out to all the engaged compliance and ethics community here, and yeah, I'm looking forward to for you to meet them and for them to meet you and for all of us to have this great conversation, which I'm sure of.
I can't wait. And for those who are watching this video, maybe to think about what is getting you stuck right now in terms
Mm,
of your program. What are the more difficult, sometimes we call them pain points, but they're not really pain points, but maybe we can have, in our discussion in the panel, how can we help get people unstuck,
yeah.
right?
Yes,
So,
and please engage. Please engage. This will be published on social media.
yeah.
Please engage in comments. Ask the questions even beforehand. So, is this the message that you would give to the attendants of the Blade Compliance and Ethics Conference?
Well, I think that is the message, is let's have a balanced conversation.
Yeah.
This is not your we present, you have time for questions. This is a conversation among friends, right? It's a balanced conversation. Sure, we want to share some lessons learned, but we want to hear what you have to say. So any questions in advance, getting in touch in advance, the more the better. So thank you for this conversation,
Yes,
Andrijana.
thank you, Richard. Thank you, Richard. And before we end up and go, can you please tell where can people find you and where can people follow you, like on social media?
So with Richard Bistrong, you can follow me on LinkedIn or Instagram or Twitter. And what I would really encourage everyone joining us here and in Lake Bled to do is I do have a monthly newsletter on LinkedIn that you can sign up to. And that's where I share a lot of, well, here's what the last month looked like, and to talk about events and subject matters. And I also talk about, what the next month looks like, as well as sharing articles and other interesting materials with the compliance community. So I'd love to see, anyone who has the time. And I promise I won't be in your inbox more than once a month. I don't publish often, but I do enjoy that newsletter and just sharing,
Great.
some good lessons learned.
Great, thank you. And that sounds like very resourceful. Thank you so much, Richard, and looking forward to see you in Bled.
We'll see you there. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.